Hey everyone. On today's video, we're going to be taking a contextual look at a new library by Spitfire Audio called Speculative Memories. This library is a collaboration between Spitfire Audio and a Berlin-based composer named Yair Elazar Glattman. The sounds on this library are inspired by sounds created by this artist for an upcoming album. He's a double bass player. He also does sound design using tape manipulations, booklet synthesizers, and various other treatments. And as such, this is an incredibly evocative palette of rich sounds. As a disclaimer, Spitfire Audio did reach out to me and send me a copy of this library prior to release, but they have no say in the content of this video and my opinions about this library. I've written a 2-minute track featuring sounds from this library, and I think this is the best way to show off a library. Rather than me sitting here going through every sound, noodling around on the keyboard, pushing the mod wheel and the expression fader on my controller, let's see what it sounds like in context. The only sounds on my demo track are created by Spitfire Audio libraries. I do have a little extra processing, and I'll talk about that as the piece unfolds. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe, and to be notified, ring that bell. Please leave any comments or questions down below. There are chapters down below so that you can easily navigate through this video. And if you'd like to further support this channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. There's a link for that down below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get right into it. The way I've got this track organized is that these magenta, purplish tracks up here, these are non-speculative memories, Spitfire sounds, and these aqua, greenish, bluish sounds here, these are all from the new library, with the exception of right here, I've got the Fox scoring stage drum kit from the HC percussion, because I wanted to use the kick drum, and it is living right by the track it's doubling. So rather than going through sound by sound at first, let's just go right in and start breaking down what's going on. If we start at the beginning of this piece, we've got this kind of sound here. Double bass, spiccato mayhem. And you could see automating mod wheel and expression. And let's see, do I have anything here? do have quite a long release and no reverb on this track. That starts the piece off, and then we've got this right here, this close mouth, and let's solo that. And this is Sarah Four's vocals. And you can see, again, with the automation of expression and mod wheel, and we've got slow attack, long release, and quite a bit of the big haul also, some of the delay. And that works with the double bass. So I love the randomness of the mayhem. It gives us a pulse, but it's not regular. It's random. So that's beautiful right there. And then now let's see what we're doing here with the other Spitfire sounds. So right here we've got the Abbey Road short winds. And notice that I'm doing dynamics. That just gives a nice pulse in the higher register that sort of plays around with the textures and the double bass spiccato mayhem. And then I've got the heirloom violins, legato. What I've done here is I've treated this with the new Big Sky, and I'm using the Shimmer program to give me an octave and 2 octaves above, just to make it ethereal. Also, the New Neighbor wet reverberator on top of that. So let's listen to just that sound so you can hear what we've got. So if I bypass the shimmer with the shimmer, everything so far except for the fractured violins, which are next. So let's listen to that aggregate right now. And then we've got the fractured strings, violins in fifths, statements up. Here we go. And that's nice with the heirloom. Right here. Here we go. So let's listen to everything together up to that point. Now we're moving on to the next section, and I've overlapped these octave swarms, their guitar. Let's listen to them. So I fade them in, so they sort of take over for the double bass, right? Yeah, that's a little, I'm not sure I like that, the way that just dies off there. Let's add a little 960 haul to that. That'll be okay. Not a problem. Yeah, that's sort of just... All right, so let's listen to the transition into the next section. Yeah, that's much better. So we've got these high notes here, but let's listen to the close mouth and hear how these chords move. Really beautiful timbres. And I like the way that it changes the sound when we get here in the lower notes. So the bass is going down and these notes here in the violin are ascending. Now, in our next section here, again, we're overlapping, right? So these chords are ending with this, and then we've got this slow pulse, which I'll talk about in a second. We've got this sort of interlocking rhythm played between the short winds, Abbey Road, and Abbey Road Glock. And they fade in. I'm doing that with expression. Right, so there's that uplifting patch. Let's listen to the transition, and then we'll talk about it a little more. This track here and this track here are the same sound, and I've got them panned hard left and right. This is a suggestion which I've talked to Spitfire about. If I play this, right, you're hearing something completely out of the left ear. And that's fine, that's what I'd like. But let's say I wanted to add some of the reverb. So I've got the big hall. Not only is the sound panned to the left, but so is the reverb. That would work great in a 1960s or an Esquivel mix, but this is 2022. So in other words, reverb and delay are treated as if they were an insert effect instead of a send effect. And I think that this would be a little bit more useful if those two time-based effects were treated as a send instead of an insert. I know they want to keep this simple and clean, and it's a beautiful interface, but there's space over here. There's a way around that, is if you turn off this reverb, which I'll do. I'll turn off the reverb. And then I've just got everything going through this external reverb plugin. This is the LX480 Essentials, and I got this on sale from Relab Development like a year and a half ago. They had it for sale for $25 or $30. I purchased it so that I could try it out and see if it was recommendable to my students, which it was. It's a beautiful sounding reverb, and I've got the whole thing drenched in that. So let's hear that now. So that definitely solves the issue. Now there's one sound we haven't talked about, and that's this right here. Right? And that sounds like a lot of resonance being driven by a cutoff frequency. And what you have here is you've got this synthesizer sound, and I've done what I think is on a buchla. And the sound is this. And that's really great. One other functionality that I think they should add to several of these libraries they've got is to add in this area here where you've got a lot of free space, 2 knobs and 2 switches. One knob will be for frequency, one knob will be for resonance, one switch will go between low pass, band pass, and high pass, and then another switch would go between 6 dB, 12 dB, 18 dB, and 24 dB per octave. So you would basically have a multi-mode filter section built into this, which would add, again, much more functionality. These sounds are really beautiful. They're wonderful. I think having that would exponentially add functionality to this. Again, you can do the work yourself. So I've added a Moger Foger. That's doing this, and you can see there'll be automation here. And then I wanted to do a little bit more, so I added a high-pass filter just using this. Just to tighten up the low end. So that's pretty cool. So let's listen to all of that together. Great. Now, as I showed you before, the winds and the Glock have this. I dovetail that with this. Right, that's a little sharp. We could clean that up. Let's fix that transition a little bit. Great. So let's listen to that. So that's kind of cool. And then that moves us forward with this next section. Let's listen to everything and then we'll break it down. We've got this pulsing synth down at the bottom here. And then right above that, I've got two tracks playing something as an aggregate. I've got this modular synth. Right, there are not a lot of percussive kinds of sounds or sounds that you can use that are percussive in this library. That's one of them. And then doubling that is the kick drum from the Fox scoring stage kick drum. I could have used any kick drum. That works. Just to give a little point to the synth sound. And then above that, I've got these granular clouds. Again, a lot of work with the mod wheel. Let's see what we've done here. So we have no delay, a lot of reverb, like a long release and a little bit of a slow attack on that. And then the last bit is this low note here, or this sort of raspy note. Here we go. So we've got a little bit of release and hard attack, and there's no reamping on this or random start. Let's take a listen to the aggregate of that. Just the speculative memories. Really cool. And then the winds and the Glock return with another pulsing rhythm. There are these sort of pulsing chords in the short winds, and then just a line against that in the glockenspiel. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. The winds are doing that kind of. And then the Glock is doing 3 note groupings at twice the speed. So that's kind of nice. And then that goes over this. And then again with the dovetailing, so I've got this tape synths, analog square keys. Let me play this patch. Let me just mute these two things I did here and play the patch. It's really cool. So that's coming in as this texture right here is fading out. It sort of takes over. There's a little bit of pulsing from this guy's right here. I created my own little bandpass filter by using these two, a low pass and a high pass combined. That just focuses the sound. So I'll just turn these off for a second. Right? Low pass, high pass. There's that transition between these guys and this. So let's listen to that, sort of dovetailing. In the next section, that pulse serves as a nice bed for this melodic figure in the Media Toolkit piano. So you'll see that I've got the lush reverb turned all the way up, a little bit of the plate reverb, and I've got the pad turned up about 60%, 59%. So that adds an etherealness to the sound, and I think it works well. Let's play that with the Abbey Road stuff. You see how that all fits together? And then this contrabass fifths waves. A lot of work here. Do have quite a bit of release and a sharp attack. Have not done any reamping on any of these sounds. Let's hear what this would sound like with a little reamp. Interesting. I'm going to learn MIDI CC automation. I'm going to automate this reamp. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to move 21 on my nano control, and then I'm just going to play in and record. Do I have a MIDI overdub? Yes, I do. And then let's start here. Just like that. And let's play that back. Yes, you see it's working. So again, very handy to do all this stuff. Very quick and easy. And let's hear how that affects the whole track. Yeah, you don't really hear it that distinctly till the end, but it does move nicely. And then again, and now we'll be transforming into the next section, and we're going from this sound to this Textures piano tape swarm. And just a volume with and just automating the volume here. So another bit here is we've got the Abbey Road and the Media Toolkit. So we've got these guys pulsing. And then we go to the piano. Fits nicely also with the blank tape forms. Still have a little bit of this guy down here. Right, so everything together. Just giving us dynamics, right? So it's not all the same texture the whole time through. So I'm doing a little pitch bend there with some of those sustained notes, but we've got the London Contemporary Strings doing Super Sul Ponticello. The short winds and Glock are playing a figure, rhythm in the piano, and also we've got a bit of the tape forms in this section. So let's just take a listen to the contemporary strings and then the British Drama Toolkit as it comes in. Right, that nice hollow sound and then a solo violin on the top. And that gets doubled by these granular clouds giving us a really beautiful pad in there. And that's more right, of that up and down with the mod wheel. We can get the London Contemporary, a really ethereal texture. We could add the tape piano swarm with some pitch bend from the pitch G down to F. Then we'll add the British Drama Toolkit with some of that hollowness in the low end and a beautiful solo violin on top. And then there is this track here, modular synthesizer, dynamics voltage. So that's very Vangelis sounding. Here we go. Got delay, release, sharp attack. And that brings us to the end. So the way that I'm building the end here, I'm doing a little bit of an overlap between textures. The London Contemporary Orchestra and the BDT fade out, as does the granular clouds. And then I've got the slow pulse left and right coming back in. So let's listen to the granular clouds moving into the slow pulse. Right, so that works really well for me because it's one vocal texture moving into another vocal texture. And then I'm layering that with the closed mouth. So that's adding that airiness to the sound. It's beautiful. And then in the low register, we've got this warm swell. A little work with volume. Good amount of release on that. While that's going on, we've got the blank tapes playing something like this. And you can see that there's some work being done there. Mod wheel. Now I left the filters on because I like that. And then I've got this note in the heirloom. And then I've got another Petrushka-esque figure in the flutes, winds, and the bells. And that gives us a really nice end chord. At this point, what I'd like to do is play through the composition a couple of times. The first time through, it'll be just the speculative instruments, and then the second time through, the rest of the ensemble. Then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts, and then play the entire composition through at the very end. Here we go. And now, just the rest of the Spitfire audio tracks without the speculative memories. And that's a look at Speculative Memories by Spitfire Audio. What I think about these libraries that Spitfire and other sample library companies are putting out is that they serve a function. They are a great companion, an add-on or an adjunct to your already fleshed out composing palette. They give you flavors and sounds that you might technically not be able to produce with the technology that you currently own, or if you were to acquire that technology, you'd have to learn how to use it and you'd have to spend a lot of money doing it. These are reasonably priced libraries that you can add, and they do add an evocative, ethereal atmosphere to any kind of composition. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe. I've been Pete Calandra. I'm going to play the entire track on the way out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.